Hello everyone, welcome back to High Tech Fun Study channel. So in this session we are going to discuss about class 9 chapter 5 science fundamental unit of life which is under biology sector. So in last session what we have discussed about cell definition in the part 1. So in this session part 2 we are going to discuss about cell discovery. So what we've learned in cell definition, we have learned about three main terms or definition which are used to describe a cell. What are they? Building block of life, structural and functional unit of life, and fundamental unit of life. And we've learned about these three definitions in depth, right? Yes. So now we're going to learn about cell discovery. So let us start. There are 5 cell discoveries and many other later on also by modern scientists. But in this chapter we're having only 5 discoveries. So let us start. First, Robert Hooke. In 1665, he observed cork slices under a self-designed magnified lens microscope. So he is Robert Hooke. So in 1616 in the year 1665, he observed what? He observed cork slices. Cork means it is a part of tree obtained from the bark of tree. Means if you see a tree, in the tree there is a hard woody structure which is surrounding the tree trunk, right? That is called a bark. So inside the bark there is a cork. Cork is an inner layer and bark is an outer layer of a tree, right? So that is what he took the cork slices and he observed these cork slices under his self-designed magnified lens microscope. Alright, so what's that? Cork cells are actually made up of dead cells. And Robert Hooke realized from this observation there, from this activity, that these compartments resembled or looked like honeycomb structures. If you see a honeycomb, there are very, very small compartments, right, which are joined together. We see those compartments very clearly, even from far away also, right? So those small compartments are what? Honey only, but they are made like small compartments. So like that only, here cork cells are also made up of small compartments. These compartments resembled or looked like honeycomb structures. So Robert Hooke named these structures as cell. Means actually the Latin word is cellulae, which means a little or small room, like a compartment. Compartment means what? A little or small room, right? So cellulae is like a little or small room, and that is converted into English as cell. So all the Robert Hooke's observations are published in a book named Micrographia. So there's a book called Micrographia in which all these cork observations and whatever later observations and before observations, whatever are done by Robert Hooke, those were all published in Micrographia. Alright. So second discovery is by Antony van Leeuwenhoek. So in the year 1674, he observed first free living cells in pond water. So free living cells means independent cells, individual cells. So they don't live in colonies, means they don't live in groups. They have their own individuality. They're not dependent on someone. Okay, they're independent. And also second, he observed bacteria, and third, he observed RBC. What is RBC? RBC is red blood cells, and we've also learned in earlier classes about RBC contains the hemoglobin, right? Yes, we have learned about that. And also we have learned about sperm cell in the 8th class, which is the male reproductive organ. Okay, testis produces sperms. We've learned these all things, right? So Antony van Leeuwenhoek in 1674, what he observed? He observed free living cells in pond water. He observed bacteria. He observed red blood cells, and then he observed sperm cells. So Antony van Leeuwenhoek is also named as the father of microbiology, because all these free living cells in pond water, bacteria, RBC, sperm cells, these all comes under microbiology. So that's why he's named as father of microbiology. Okay, so here we see what he observed. He observed microorganisms in a drop of pond water, and here we can also see bacteria. We can see RBC, right? RBC itself contains hemoglobin. And then we also saw about this sperm cell, right? Yes, you have learned about sperm cell in the 8th class. Now the third discovery is about nucleus. So Robert Brown, he's a scientist. So in 1831, in the year 1831, he observed nucleus. So what is nucleus? We have learned in the session 1. We have learned about nucleus, that it is a center dense round body which is in the center of the cell. Okay, center of the cell. Okay, it is a dense round body. So it contains nucleolus, and it also contains a pore, nuclear pore, and it contains nuclear envelope and nucleoplasm, chromatin material, and endoplasmic reticulum, and these all things are there in nucleus, right? So Robert Brown, a scientist in 1831 year, he observed nucleus discovered. Okay, and fourth discovery is Purkinje. So Purkinje is also a scientist. In 1839, he coined the term protoplasm. It is a fourth discovery, cell discovery. Okay. The protoplasm. What is protoplasm? Protoplasm is a fluid in cell membrane, which is living substance of the cell. If we see a cell, there is a cell membrane, outer boundary, endoplasmic reticulum, which is covering out the nucleus, and we also see nucleus inside the nucleus, nucleolus, and we see cytoplasm, jelly-like substance, right? So this nucleus, nucleolus, cytoplasm, which contains cell organelles, these four things are there in protoplasm. So protoplasm contains these four things. What are those? Nucleus, nucleolus, cytoplasm, and also along with cell organelles. Alright, so Purkinje in the year 1839 he coined the term protoplasm. Protoplasm is the living substance of the cell. Okay, and the fifth discovery, here we see about cell theory. This is the last discovery which is in our textbook, named in the textbook. So here in this, first two scientists already discovered cell theory. I mean, they gave 2 points. Two scientists gave 2 points of cell theory, and the third point was added by another scientist. So we will be learning about that now. Two biologists, Jacob Matthias Skeldon. He's a botanist. In the year 1838, he wrote the points of the cell theory, and then Theodor Schwann. He's a zoologist. In the year 1839. He gave second point of the cell theory. First of all, what is biologist? Biologist means the person who study about living organism. So in biologist we have two types: botanist, zoologist. So botanist is a person who study plants, and zoologist is the person who study about animals. So which scientist is zoologist and which scientist is botanist? Skeldon is botanist and Schwann is zoologist. Okay. So these two scientists gave 2 points of the cell theory. And next, in the year 1855 again, one scientist, Rudolf Virchow, he extended the cell theory. Means he gave the third point. So there are totally 3 points in the cell theory. So this cell theory was given by whom? By 3 members. First 2 points were given by Skeldon and Schwann. Last point was given by Rudolf Virchow. So Rudolf Virchow is also known as the father of modern pathology. Father of modern pathology. He is given the name as father of modern pathology. Alright, so now we will see the points of the cell theory. So cell theory, the first point is cell is a basic unit of life. So in the first session, means the part 1 of this chapter, we have learnt about the 3 definitions of the cell, right? We have learned that a cell is the basic fundamental unit of life. Means what? Cell is the base. For any organism, for any living organism, cell is a base, we have learned. So here also the first point is that cell is a basic unit of life. Okay, the second point is all living organisms are made up of cells. Right? Each and every living organisms, whether it may be plants, whether it may be animals, whether it may be human beings also, all the living organisms are made by whom? Cells, made up of cells. And we have also learned that all cells together form up and form tissues, and all tissues combine together or form together to form organs, and all organs combine and form an organ system in turn form whom? Us. Humans, plants, and animals, right? And also we have learned that cell gives a shape and structure to the organism. It also performs many functions. We have learned these all things, right? And that point is only this one: all living organisms are made up of cells, right? That's why we get shape, because we are made up of cells. We get shape, or even animals get shape, or even plants get shapes, right? So another point, this last point was added by whom? Rudolf Virchow. In the year 1855, he gave that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Means whatever new cells are arising. See, normally we have dead cells. These dead cells won't give rise to another cells. Only the living cells can give rise to another cell. Now we've learnt in the Robert Hooke's observation, right, that cork is made up of what? Dead cells. So which the dead cells cannot give rise to another cells. So that is why the cork cells cannot give rise to another cells, because it's made up of dead cells. So living cell, whatever living cell is there, that only can give rise to another cell. So this all cells arise from pre-existing cells. This Latin word is omnes cellulae a cellula. Okay, this is a Latin word of this last point, that is all cells arise from pre-existing cells. That Latin word is omnes cellulae a cellula. So please note it down if you have if you have a habit of maintaining notes. And dead cells cannot give rise to another cells. Only living cells can give rise to another cell. So this postulate is also known as postulate or point. Okay, this postulate or third point of cell theory is given by Rudolf Virchow, is not applicable for viruses. See, this third point, that all cells arise from pre-existing cells, this third point of cell theory is not applicable for viruses, because the viruses does not contain cell membrane and also cell organelles, right? So they only contain nucleic acid. So that is why they come under not neither living nor non-living. So they're intermediate between living and non-living. So that is why viruses cannot give rise to another cell. But because why they cannot give? Because it does not contain cell membrane. They don't have any cell membrane. They don't have any cell organelles. They just have nucleic acid. By that only they are made up of, right? The viruses. So here we can see, right? Here I have just kept an image that if A is a living cell, it can give B and C. It can give rise to what? B and C. B and C are also living cells. Now, so this B, from this B again E and F are made. E and F are raised from this B. So E and F also are living, right? Now C. Now C is also given a price by A only, right? A is given rise to gives rise to B and C. B gives rise to E, F, G, H. So C gives rise to G, H, and B gives to rise E and F. So here what happens? G is C only, H is also C only, E is also B, F is also B. It rises up again. E also can rise again B, F also can rise again B, because all are living cells. G can give rise to C again, and H also can give rise to C. Now both B and C can again give rise to A, right? Individual also they can give rise to each other, right? So all living cells can give rise to another cell. Okay, they can give rise to another cell. This is about the third point of the cell theory. These 3 points of cell theory is very important, and that's for this session. That's for this session. Okay, so time to recap what we've learned in this session. We've learned about the discoveries, right? What discoveries we have learned? We have learned about first Robert Hooke's discovery, and then we have learned about Antony van Leeuwenhoek's. First we have learned about Robert Hooke's, right? So here are the pictures. You can also observe them. Here down are the cork's slides. It's like a wood only, right? So yeah, it is made up of the bark. Bark means woody structure. So obviously cork also will be like woody only. And we can see up the observation of the cork size. And here beside that we can see the Robert Hooke, right? So from the year 1635 to 1705. Okay. And next we have seen about Antony van Leeuwenhoek. What he observed? He observed free living cells in pond water. He observed bacteria. He observed RBC. He observed sperm cell. So he is also known as father of microbiology, right? Because he observed all the microbiologic things. And the third discovery is Robert Brown. He observed nucleus in the year 1831. So all the scientists' names and the years are very important. Okay. And Purkinje in 1839 he coined the term protoplasm. And we've also seen Jacob Matthias Cald and the botanist in the year 1838, and Theodor Schwann, zoologist in the year 1839. They discovered the cell theory and gave 2 points of the cell theory. And again Rudolf Virchow, he extended cell theory in the year 1855. Alright, so Rudolf Virchow is also given the name as the father of modern pathology. Okay, and we have also learned about cell theory, right? There are 3 points in cell theory. What are they? Basic unit of life. Cell is a basic unit of life. All living organisms are made up of cells. All cells arise from pre-existing cells. But there is an exception for viruses because they are intermediate between living and non-living. And the Latin word for this third postulate or third point of cell theory is omnis cellulae a cellula. And we've learned that the living cells can give rise to under cells, whereas the cells cannot give rise to under cells. Okay, thank you for this, watching this video. And if you like it, do like it. Don't forget to share it with your friends or relatives, and also please comment your doubts and questions whatever you have, and also don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. Thank you.